Welcome to another garden vlog. The other day we were looking at these root suckers from this root sucker jujube here. And there's more root suckers coming out and they're growing really fast. So check that out. So what was there, 2 or 3? And there's like 3 there, at least 2 here. Who knew that root suckers from jujubes, once you detach them from the, I guess the mother plant, shoot up so many more root suckers. Let's grab an Okinawa spinach. Maybe one of these cassavas here, if they're not stuck in the ground too hard. One of them broke off. The morning glories were holding them. So get one of these small Mr. Twisty cactuses. Grabbed a few of these not so great looking Jaboticabas here. What about some quinoa? Well, I was about halfway through my planting and heard the kids come out the door, open the door. A minute later or two, Natalie called me. So I didn't get half the stuff done. Didn't get a lot of video or anything, or any video, since you got the last part until now. So maybe we'll go there before this video ends and show you what I did do and maybe plant some more stuff, because obviously this garden vlog isn't quite long enough yet. And here I was on the last garden vlog saying I don't want long videos. Let's hope it's not, what was it, 38 minutes plus the last one. Let's hope this one has a shorter run time. So last video I brought up a topic, am I just planting things out just to plant, whether on camera or whatever, just because I'm bored out of my mind, or if there's a method to the madness. And, my answer was sort of yes and no, that, a big part's experimentation, putting things out everywhere to see where they kind of succeed or fail, or stress, And you might think, well, you put, these avocados and wetlands on one, even without these raised beds or, aged wood chip alternative beds that you call them. Why? And here's a big thing. This wetlands runs like this and then that way, kind of like a panhandle or L shape. And in that panhandle area, it is more sandy. It seems to be less wet. And, at one time we had a swimming pool way back there and we brought in extra sand, so it's a little bit higher up. So, I figure let's experiment with, a few things there. So we put a white sapote. Did we put 2? Maybe we put 2 white sapotes in there. We put, 4 plus avocados in and around that area, including the panhandle and including that area where the roots are so dense that I said, well, it's kind of unusable, where we started working on a raised bed a few months back and never really put much effort into it as of yet. We still got a lot of work to do there to possibly put an asparagus bed or something in there. This could potentially answer a question, is even though it's drier, is it dry enough to support avocados, maybe white sapotes, maybe a few other things? We put cassava in there, and the sweet potatoes, and we put the Okinawan spinach in there now. We planted those pomegranates in there a few months ago and they seem to be doing good so far. And a few figs, and now that Mr. Twisty cactus, that's what I call it. I'm sure there is a cultivar name for it, but no one knows. We haven't figured it out yet. It's either a white or a green fruit that no one I know has taste tested it to see if it's good. And we have the wild pineapples. We have a trifoliate orange in there, and we have that Himalayan FSP grafted mulberry there. And we also have one of the thornless cactus, that you can eat the pads from, Here we are out here again. I was called again by Natalie or the kids or something to do some other stuff, and hopefully we can get, our stuff done today. before it gets too late. That kenaf or whatever that I planted is like, I think an Indian hibiscus. Is called like cannabiscus hibiscus or something like that, because I guess it resembles cannabis in a lot of ways. They use it for making threads and a variety of other things. But you know, all hibiscus, I guess, is edible. Ooh, that is extremely sour. Okra is a hibiscus species. Rosa Sharon and Althea is a hibiscus species. And even the roselle that, you know, they do in Mexico and make all those cool drinks and stuff with, and they even grow it here in Florida as well as an annual. That is a hibiscus type as well. Even this mallow here, this is a hibiscus species as well. And this marshmallow here, that I guess used to be used to make marshmallows from the roots. This is probably what most people think of when they think about hibiscuses, though. These, oh, I see a snake. These tropical hibiscus. There is a water snake in this little water hole here. Probably aren't going to be able to see him, but it's just a banded water snake. A banded water snake. Sorry, my voice got a little bit scratchy there for a second. Yeah, we have water snakes everywhere, and you know, even though we have cottonmouths or water moccasins, they are few and far between. I may see like 2 a year versus, you know, seeing water snakes, some of them being the same ones 15, 20, 30, maybe more times each year, and seeing, you know, the garter snakes, occasionally rat snakes, black racers, you know, the little crown snakes, and pine wood snakes. In the swamp here, we don't get many rattlesnakes. I've seen maybe 2 in, you know, almost 50 years. So that's not a good thing, because we do have coral snakes that usually don't show themselves very much because they're like fossorial. And we have cottonmouths, which can give you a nasty bite, but we really don't fear the snakes here. We embrace snakes, and you know, not every water snake is a cottonmouth like so many people think, and not every snake that rattles its tail, including black racers, are rattlesnakes. We got some Surinam spinach here, a little piece of chaya. I think we're going to put this in that panhandle of wetlands on one as well, in a kind of little island where we have the white sapote and everything kind of stuck together with that hibiscus. We have a cassava here planted by the gate, or the fence I should say, right on the edge of this wetland zone 1 panhandle. And there we got the Okinawa spinach, the chaya, white sapote, Surinam spinach, kenaf, the Mr. Twisty cactus right there. So I'm outside of that wetland zone 1 area, and I just planted a red hybrid right outside of that fence. But now we're back in these pine tree areas, and you remember I planted one right there, probably about 15 foot away, and I'm just planting another one I just got. And I don't know if this is a Sabar or a red hybrid, because the label's kind of worn and faded. But there we go. Now we have 2 under pine trees. This is the same general area, but this is a little oak tree here that we're digging. And we're going to put another one right there. This guy is a red hybrid. Well, we got one more in our wagon, and we're under another pine tree here. So this, you know, we wouldn't be doing this if we couldn't easily dig. But there are some areas in between some of the big pine roots that are semi-easy to dig, so let's just go ahead and put them in there. There she is, another red hybrid. I think in the future we need to plant them all up and down this fence line that meets this forest here. And you know, remember, these guys are doing bad. A lot of them are dying every day, getting in worse condition. So maybe this soil, this acidic soil, swamp soil, and on the edge here where the fence is, that's kind of like a hill versus where it comes down here, you know, 8-10 foot out, and is where the biggest dips are here in the wetlands here. This isn't wetlands 1. We haven't really named it. Is it wetlands 2, wetlands zone 3? I don't know. But it's just the forested area. Yeah, I think we're going to plant one of these avocados in this wet, super wet area, but in a big hill, just like that camphor tree that the roots raised up the land. This is basically a dead sweet gum and dying sweet gums and live sweet gums and a few maples and stuff. But check that out. That dirt is mostly sweet gum, dead sweet gum that is just, you know, composted down. Let's see how one of the avocados do here too. And there it is. Now we put that mycorrhizal starter that we mix with the ashes, the compost, the magic soil and stuff in here, and we can hope for the best. Got this one guy left, and I really don't feel like finding another place for it right this second, so we're going to go head back in, and that might be it for this garden vlog today. I'm sweating like crazy. I could probably do 3, 4, 5 times more work, you know, in the fall, winter, early spring, but it's hot, super humid. So I'm starting to narrow down some places for those pear trees, or at least a couple of them maybe. And I know there's a lot of other places I could probably put the Jaboticabas. There's wet areas everywhere. There's shady areas everywhere. Just got to spend the time to do them, you know. Not a lot of figuring out on that, you know, that part for the Jaboticabas. But, you know, with the pears, you need a little bit more sunlight, you know, closer to full sun as possible. But we may not get them into absolute full sun. In wetland zone 1, as you may or may not recall, we planted 2 grafted American persimmon trees. Both the grafts failed, one of the rootstocks failed. And that was kind of in our plan to have like at least 2 American persimmons in that area. Do we maybe use one of those raised beds for a pear tree? Or do we replace it with another American persimmon rootstock and try to graft it later? We do have a lot of Jaboticabas to try to get in the ground, and this isn't even all of them. I think I need to also get some longevity spinach in wetland zone 1, whether it's that panhandle area or somewhere else. We probably planted some in that area where we had the squash or pumpkins grow, you know, a while back, but everything that we planted there, almost everything, got overrun with those squash vines, including our tea trees, our tea shrubs, and they were killed. So, yeah, we need to keep propagating those in different places, because they don't always seem to come back. They come back a little bit, enough to keep your, you know, a mother plant or a few mother plants, but we want them to come back vigorously and be a food supply. These jewels of opar come back vigorously, but it seems like the Surinam spinach, which is very closely related to them, has a little bit more problem propagating itself or coming back every year for some reason. Hopefully we can find a sweet spot for those as well. All right, guys, that's it for this garden vlog. Take care now.